Algebra 2, welcome to Complete the Square, Day 1. Okay, we're going to start off with trying to solve with the square root property. We have x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals 9. And if we were to square root both sides, we get a nice plus minus 3 on the right. But I don't know what the first thing I would do with the square root of all of this on the left. Okay, we're going to think back to a previous lesson when we were doing x minus 5 parentheses squared. We had a binomial parentheses squared, and we talked about writing it down twice, multiplying it out, and then we'd get this. And you'll notice that this matches, so this is equal to x minus 5 parentheses squared. This is a perfect square trinomial. 1, 2, 3 pieces, trinomial. Perfect square, meaning it comes from parentheses squared. And we're going to learn a way to make sure that we can make our trinomials be perfect squares. So that we can do this. Reduce it down to parentheses squared. And now it's a pretty friendly process with the square root to both sides. Okay, I still have this plus minus 3 on the right. And now I know exactly what to do with a square root of a square. It's just going to be x minus 5. We're going to add the 5 over. Now be careful. You cannot put the 5 on that. That's not going to turn into plus minus 8. We're going to have 5 plus minus 3. Okay, these are all nice numbers, so we can go ahead and do this one. 5 plus 3 is 8, or 5 minus 3 is 2. 8 or 2 would make that thing equal 9. Now, how do we complete the square? How can I make sure that that third number, that C number, is always the right number so that this can go down to parentheses squared? Okay, the B number is the key. If you come back up to this, we had minus 10x, okay, and we need this to be a 25. So then it also goes to minus 5. If you'll notice, negative 10, negative 5, that minus 5 is half of negative 10. And negative 5 squared is plus 25. So you're going to cut that B number in half. Why are we cutting that B number in half? If we were to write this down twice and FOIL it out, we're going to have two minus 5x's. A minus 5x and a minus 5x. That's how we got the minus 10x. So if we cut that number in half, that is the number we want. Okay, the B is the key. You're going to take your B number and divide it by 2. And then you're going to take your B number over 2 and square it. Okay, let's look at this one. X squared plus 8x plus blank. Our B is 8. 8 over 2 equals 4. And 4 squared equals 16. So I want 16 to be my C number, plus 16. And then this spot is always half of this. So this was a plus 8. So this is going to be a plus 4. Okay? You could write this down twice, multiply it out, and you'd get right back to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Take a look at this minus 20x. If I take negative 20 and cut it in half, we're at negative 10. Negative 10 squared is 100. So I want this one to be plus 100, and this one is minus 10. Okay? Take your middle number, cut it in half. Negative 10, square it, that's what goes here. Half down there. Now see, that was plus 8, and half was plus 4. Negative 20, half of that is negative 10. Okay? All right, why don't you go ahead and push pause and try the 2 on the left. All right, welcome back. Okay, hopefully you got 6. And 6 squared is going to be plus 36. And then we'll have a plus 6 here. minus 4x. Cut that in half, it's going to be minus 2. Square that, we'll have a plus 4. Let me write that one down. Okay, we cut negative 4 in half, it's negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. And that's going to be a minus 2 there. Okay, so now we're going to piece those two processes together. Okay, up here, we're like, oh yeah, once we got to here, we knew what to do. But going from here to here was a little bit weird. Okay, and now we learned how to make that happen. And now it should, we're going to do this, and then that, and this should work out pretty good. Okay, we have x squared minus 6 equals negative 5. Remember that b term is the key. So we're going to cut negative 6 in half to negative 3. Negative 3 squared equals 9. So I want that to be a 9. I'm going to add 9 here. Now these are equations, so if I add 9 to the left, I also have to add 9 to the right. The whole point of adding this 9 was so that it would make one of these, a perfect square trinomial. It's going to come down to half of this, x minus 3 squared, equals 4. Okay, we completed the square. Now it's a nice and friendly problem. We know how to solve this with a square root. Square root is going to drop this down to x minus 3. Square root of 4 is plus minus 2. We're going to add that 3 over. And again, be careful. You cannot combine those to make it a plus minus 5. No, no, no. X equals, ooh, purple. Meant to grab the green one. 3 plus minus 2. Okay, 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 or 1. So much fun. All right, flip it over to the back side. Solve by completing the square with an unwanted guest. Oh no. Okay, let's look at that b number, that 8. 8 over 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. But we already have a c number, and it's not 16. Okay, we got two options here. We're going to look at both ways. The first option is to just kick out that unwanted guest. Get rid of it. Okay, we need 9 out of there. So we're going to plus 9 to cancel that minus 9. Okay, and now we have room for that 16 that we wanted. Add 16. And now we should be at a point where we can just go right on down the line. A different method to that. Okay, we know this. We want this to be 16. Okay, you can now, instead of kicking out the 9 and then adding the 16, use your brain power. What number would you have to add to negative 9 to make that spot be 16? Okay, it's going to take a little bit more brain power, but it also cuts a step. This took 2 steps. This will take 1, but it takes brain power. You have to think about it. Okay, so if I want that to be 16 and it's currently negative 9, I'm going to have to add 25. Negative 9 and 25 is plus 16, and we still have that 25 on the other side, just like we do over here. Okay, so both ways get to the same spot. This way is a little bit faster. All right, we completed the square, so hopefully we know this is going to x plus 4 squared. And we can square root plus minus 5. And then we subtract 4. Okay, negative 4 plus 5, we got positive 1. Negative 4 minus 5, we got negative 9. Okay, so far every problem we've done has worked out perfect. Guess what? That does not always happen. Okay, so here's one that's not going to always happen. This one's going to have a radical left over at the end. Okay, half of our 10 is 5. And 5 squared is 25. So I want that number to be 25. This is a nicer or easier one to kind of think of what number do I have to add to both sides to make that be 25. Okay, 24 plus 1 would give you 25. So if you want to do it that way, you can. I'm going to stay with the get rid of it method here. We're going to get rid of that one. And now I'm going to add my 25. All right. And now we should be to where we're pretty comfortable with this spot. We know what to do. This is going to make a parentheses squared. Half of that number, plus 10, down to plus 5. Square root. We'll have x plus 5 equals the square root of 24. Now the next two steps are interchangeable. You can go either way. I like to minus the 5 first and then reduce the radical. You could reduce the radical and then minus 5. I like to minus the 5 first because sometimes if you reduce the radical, then you kind of mess up the minus 5 with whatever regular numbers in front. That's a plus minus radical there, Mr. Handke. Okay. Now what perfect square goes into 24? 4 and 6. And we can do the square root of 4 plus minus 2 radical 6. All right, there it is, folks. Front and back, we got that done pretty quick. Short video. Okay, this is day 1, so it's super important to get this stuff down. Tomorrow we're going to add on a number in front of x squared, and that makes it a lot more complicated. All right, thanks for watching, and good luck.